Today we have questions from Odens, and I think it's she. And she's asking, I assume, is newsletter necessary if I just want to email my list? How can I grow it then? Okay, here's an interesting story. About 3 years plus ago, I started like everybody else. I started a list, and you can't. You are not an email marketer if you don't start a list. Okay, so I started a list and I call it a newsletter. And over the years, I then realized one thing. Now, if you look at the definition of newsletter, right, it is a periodically sent email that informs your audience of the latest news, tips, updates relating to your product and services. Now, if you look at it this way, it is great for companies, right? Because they're active, they're a big organization, they have a lot of news updates and all those things. And the best way is to have a weekly newsletter and say, oh, here's a summary of what's happening with us. Here's some wins for our customers and all those stuff. But if you look at it, if you look at it this way, individuals or smaller entrepreneurs, we don't have much news related to company products. We probably have a few products or services. Okay. And that's the same case with me. Then I came to a realization that let's not call it a newsletter because nobody joins a newsletter just to receive news from your company. What for? What value, right? End of the day, you have to think about what's in it for me. They join for a particular reason. Okay, so if you cannot provide that particular reason or that benefit to them, then either they join in the first cut or they will leave eventually, or they don't gain value and they will leave, right? So my version or my take after 3 years of doing this, I do not call my email list a newsletter. In fact, I actually call it my private social network. Okay, so then if you are an individual working or you're a small group, a small company, for example, consider it turning into private social network. What is the difference? The difference is this. If you look at my website, you will see a pop-up. I won't say join my newsletter because there's no value whatsoever to the person. What I'm saying is, okay, can I have permission to send you or communicate with you once daily, right? And why am I going to communicate? I'm going to share with you some tips similar to newsletter or some hacks, so my personal experience with regards to email marketing. And at the same time, so when I use it as a social network, it becomes a channel of communication between me and my audience, as opposed to putting the pressure on me to come up with news. I mean, we are not what you call that. What's the famous social newsletter company? We're not those companies where we can run ads and all those things. That's different. They have a bank of journalists working for them, so they compile news from different sources and they summarize it and they present it to you in a newsletter form, right? I don't have that kind of capabilities, and very likely 99% of us out there who's doing this don't have that. So what we want is we just want to build that relationship. We want to build that communication channel, keep it open so that whenever we have something new to share, whenever we have a product to share, for example, we will do that. Other than that, we will share our experiences. We will share tips. We will share what we do and what are the things that could with the primary objective of benefiting the person who is going to receive the emails. Okay, so if audience, if you are looking at it, stop calling your newsletters or your emails that you send out newsletters, because it's not, because you're not going to share company news. There's not much company news to share. Let's be honest with yourself. And you just say, I'm going to create basically I'm going to ask for your permission to email me on a regular basis, right? I do it daily, Monday to Friday. And if you want, you can do that. Or you can say, I'll send to you or I'll communicate with you maybe once every week, or maybe 2 times or 3 times every week. All right. It becomes that communication channel. And you want to make sure that they also come back in the sense that they allow them to reply back to you. So now you have that conversation going. That's all you do. Okay. So that reduces your pressure of coming up with content, because it is tough. To be honest, it is tough. I've been doing it. I know there are certain months where I'm stuck with delivery work. For example, I may just drop off instead of daily. I just do maybe 3 times, right? But it takes practice and it takes discipline to do it. And over time, sometimes writing emails is like 5-10 minutes at most. So it's a matter of building that discipline, building that muscle memory for you to be able to do that. Okay. So the next question, Olens, is how can I grow it? Okay. Irrespective whether you want to call it newsletter, or in my case, I want to call it my private social network, is there are a few things. One, you can do, let me see. What is this coming up? Okay. One is you can create lead magnets. Okay. Now, what is lead magnets? Lead magnets is an item of exchange. That means I've got something, a checklist, a book, for example, or a very unique set of information that is valuable to my audience or the audience I decide I want to attract. And in order to exchange this, you're going to use this to exchange for their email address. And that's how you grow. That's one way. All right. So that's for example, if I do email, for example, I might write you know, let's say I might do a 365, let's say subject lines, okay, which I will, my subscribers, which I drop off doing that. 365 subject lines, for example, that if they want, they can get for free. And then all they need is just submit their emails and I'll email it to them. Okay, so that's how you grow from there. So the other one is if you're active on social, for example, let's say if you're on LinkedIn, all right, so what you do is you do your daily posts. You would write maybe educational posts, for example, and at the bottom of each post, you can say if you want to receive more tips or hacks, I've got join my list, right? Or give your email, and then I'll email you more on whatever time based on whatever that you're comfortable with. So you can actually do that. Okay, so and then what you do is what is the other one? Is collaboration. Okay. So, for example, Bob here, he is my LinkedIn Sifu. I actually learned my LinkedIn chops from Bob. Hi, Bob. And Bob's question is just to quick segue to what do you think of using Facebook as to grow your email newsletter subscribers? You can, but you gotta have a purpose for it because you're gonna spend money. So the reason why you want to grow this list and spend money to grow this list, unless you have an offer coming, right? Then yes. Otherwise, you're going to spend money to grow. At least it becomes a vanity. You may have a lot of subscribers, but these subscribers may not all of them will be suitable or target audience for your products or services. So yes, I've seen people doing it. I've seen big influencers doing it. I could do a simple webinar like this, and I can start collecting my leads for free. Maybe not in the volume that running a Facebook ads would be, but I can, if I tailor for example, my webinars specifically to a very niche item. So here's the thing. You want to be able to use whatever method, either link magnets or stuff like webinars, videos, and all those things to tailor it to the niche audience that you want to attract. So if I say, I'm going to do a webinar on marketing. I'm going to attract Facebook advertisers. I'm going to have social media practitioners, for example. Everybody who's in marketing will probably, be interested to join. Let's say, but my audience is not that. My audience could be people who are into, let's say, B2B, for example. And then if I just do marketing, then it doesn't make sense. I'll get a lot of volume, but these are not my right audience. And eventually, when they're in my list and the stuff I talk about is, let's say, B2B marketing, 90% or 70% of them will drop off. So be very careful by using this to attract. Use this to filter. Okay. Uh, yeah. Oh, yes. Morning Brew. Yes. They are worth what? 20 million USD, Bob? Yeah, absolutely. But do you have like 20, 30 journalists for you to write, to help you write? If you have that, then by all means, it's nice, but there are so many so-called newsletters out in the market. There are probably like what, less than 10 of them who actually made it. So that's how the competition is, Bob, that's it. And what else besides collaboration? Oh, so the reason why I brought Bob in, for example, let's say Bob is a major authority when it comes to LinkedIn, and he has his own set of audience. In my case, let's say I have our own set of audience. So what I want to do is I will talk to Bob and say, hey, Bob, can we do something together so we can cross-pollinate, or so I can attract Bob's audience, and likewise, Bob can attract mine. And this way, I can grow my list, because then I will attract Bob's audience into my list. And then when I want to have an offer, for example, or I want to build my authority with Bob's audience, I can do that. Okay. And that is important, especially in this day and age. irrespective whether you run ads, every platform that we're doing, especially like now, either Facebook or even LinkedIn or whatever it is a platform that we are typically renting. In exchange, we're putting content, we're renting it, and these platforms can easily shut us out. So why you want to create either you call it newsletter or your list, for example, or your private social network, for example, is you want to be able to bring them into your world because you have their email address. And irrespective, whatever platform changes, your emails remain consistent. You are in control. So let's say, for example, if you're using an email service provider like Smiley or Tunnel's company called Smiley, or either MailerLite or whatever it is, or MailChimp. And MailChimp says, Andrew, I don't like your the way you send emails, so I'm going to shut you down. I can just download the list and then go to another ESP. The list is still with us. It's still with me, it's still with you. So that's where the value is. Okay. So you can easily start and your audience will follow you from wherever you are because your domain is owned by you anyways, right? So that's one way of doing it. You can run ads like Bob suggested, obviously. So you got to have a very clear commercial intent of spending money and what you want to do with them once you draw them in. Okay. If not, then or if you have the money to burn, then why not? Other than that, I wouldn't recommend it. Okay. What else to do? You can do giveaways, right? So if you're in e-commerce, for example, you may want to do giveaways, all right? And then that's how you attract them in and you give them a 20-30% discount, for example, and then you start sending in e-commerce, it's very clear. I'm attracting in because I will make offers to you. Okay, that's it. I want to sell something to you. It's very clear for e-commerce, all right? Whereas for like coaches or trainers or even service providers like us, for example, we just want to build trust, we want to build authority. And when the time is right, like a case of my new client here, when they are ready, they will reach out to you and says, I'm ready. Let's do business. Okay. But the fact that they come to you is because you've been in their inbox for a long period of time. You are serving them with content. You are serving them with value. You are sharing a little piece of yourself to them, right? Like recently, I wrote to my list, for example, about the experience of my daughter's head with their ice skating rink. It is just to share that I'm still a human being and I have kids and I have certain fears, right? And that brings you closer. So that's why for me, it's not newsletter. It is basically my communication tool to my audience. Okay, audience. I hope I addressed two of your questions. Hi, and thanks for watching. If you need my help to set up your email marketing engine for your business, just click on the link here and you see a list of services that will help you grow your leads and sales and also increase your profits through emails. I'm looking forward to working with you soon.